Alrighty, still at it, working that tail, and the only thing left are, besides putting it all together, are these and the little cone closeout on the back. So I watched Eddie's video of basically going an inch up from that rivet line, taking these down, bending it around here, getting it into that. And like some others, I have the non-flush rivet here. It's the second one in. So you can either cut it out of here, wherever that sits, I'm gonna find out, drill it out, put a flush one, or I don't know if this will work, is maybe make this like a rounded corner to not cover that rivet, but then I would still want to be able to rivet somewhere else. So I'm going to look at a few of those options. Here's what I came up with. And not all planes have this problem, because I think only the early ones, early on, they specified these to be countersunk and this to be a button head rivet. Then I think they changed that now, from what I've heard. So I think what I'm going to try and do, so I kind of marked where this is going to sit and the rivet holes are going to be. Then I took a very sophisticated radius that kind of clears that rivet, and I can put another nut plate here. So, you know, I'll have one here, 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 and here. So this will basically replace that one. But I think the rounded corner will look good, and it'll fix the problem of hitting that rivet. And I mean, honestly, I don't know if I'll even need a nut plate. We got on the top side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but the other one would end up, well, kind of in line, like right about here. So I'm gonna give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. In Eddie's video, he talks about overlapping these and then just cutting them to sit butting up against each other. In our case here, it seems that these are already cut because they perfectly line up on the center line of these center rivets. So basically what I did is just measured a more sophisticated or more exact, accurate line 1 inch up, and then I marked these holes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and they're all equal distance. So I'm gonna drill those, cleco those, and then follow the rest of it around. That's so amazing. Just a couple of pieces of filler pieces make it look so finished and uniform. All right, so I got those 3 in, and I think I'm gonna cut this and just see how it sits and then work my way down and around. Super close. I'm just going to trim off a little bit more. Perfect. I found a roll of tape that had just a hair bit more tape on it. So that'll make the radius just a tad bit bigger. That should work. There you see it. It clears that action. Ended up using even a bigger radius. I used one of these little cup things. It's 4.5 inches in diameter. So what's that? 2 1/4 radius. And I also, when I got to the bottom here, I trimmed a little bit off of the inside. I basically mated it from here. It was flush, but up top I took 3/16 off. So basically just trimmed 3/16 and then had it butt up underneath here. It just helps fit a little bit better. Now what I'm working on is, I don't have the bottom riveted yet, but I want to get this roll down a little bit more. And I did it on the starboard side, sorry, port side, and I ended up using just a little tube like that, and kind of just massage it up like a small version of the aileron or wing rolling stuff to get it right. So I think it has to do with the way this kind of goes up in there. I mean, this is as good as this is gonna get, but I did have to trim, like it wants to skew this thing in, so I had to trim a little bit there. I'm just gonna underlap that in there, tuck that in there. So I took like 3/16 off of the far end, and then plus probably another 3/16 there. So that's probably like 3/8 along there to get it to sit tight. I don't know. And I think I'm gonna not bother with this rivet or nut plate. It sits really tight. I really like the way it sits. And then if the rubber gasket goes in here, you know, it'll lift that up a little bit, but that's fine. And if we need to add weight in the tail later on, I'll put that nut plate in there, or two of them. But yeah, loving it. One issue by moving this in so far is that this gets too close to that, you know, if you want to take it off for inspection. I mean, yeah, you could do it, but you don't want to scratch it up. So I think I'm going to use that hole to make a little cutout and then put the actual screw here. And the reason I'm not just cutting all of this off is because this is open in there. And I want it to be, I don't know, I think it looks better this way. Oh, there's my flashlight. And I'm also thinking of using 8 30-second nut plates, and that will make this hardware, pretty much all of the machine threads universal. So when you take them apart, you know, they're all the same. But all right, that's for tomorrow. I spent all night fiddling and filing that thing. For now, good night. So there's a couple of little tweaks that I made. This is the cutout. I'll show you that fits underneath there in a second. Then I also notched out for this rivet, just because it was kind of pushing it up. So this way it can sit flat on that. And then I bent these tabs from here to here down a little bit, but it looks like I overdid it. So I'm gonna bring that up again a little bit. I was just trying to get it to sit flush here. I know there's a rubber gasket's gonna go around there, but yeah, that rivet's dead on. I can get that a little bit bigger. I'll show you the bottom. All right, this is what the bottom looks like. So I just moved that over, whatever, 3/8 of an inch, and then left that little joggle to cut out in there. Here's what I was trying to achieve. I'm still gonna push this down a little bit, this up a little bit. Just trying to get an even gap in there. The side fits a lot better. That's the rivet cutout. So a little bit of fine tuning, put in some nut plates, and check this one off the list of things that are done. like I said earlier, I'm gonna do 8 30-seconds hardware, just to keep all the hardware the same on the outside. And they give you the long, you know, the ones that have the thread and then a mounting hole and a mounting hole. I'm not really sure why. Looks like I can just use regular. And then I was toying between the idea of using flush rivets, and I could get my rivet squeezer here, here, you know, on these ones, which are actually the most visible. But I am going to use these. I don't know, it's kind of going back and forth. No particular reason other than maybe it'll lift it up and get rid of this gap on the outside, and also it'll take less tension of the paint scratching against the wing. That's kind of a thought, so we'll see how it goes. Some of these hard to get your finger into to put the steel nut plates. Little neodymium magnet comes in handy, so you kind of put it here and walk its way over until you line it up. So that worked pretty well for me. Well, that's it for the horizontal stabilizer fairing. In summary, follow the instructions, you'll be fine. Super easy. What I did different, because I always like to make things complicated, is we had this high rivet here, so I basically just rounded this. This way I can stick my finger underneath there. But when this sits on the tail cone, it actually pushes this down pretty good, so I'm not too worried about it. If I need to, I can always put a rivet right here, nut plate. You can get at it from in front of that spar, you know, just as close as possible. So yeah, I omitted that. I did end up filing right here a little bit, just so it sits, you know, a little more uniform against the tail cone. I did clean this up too. This was kind of jaggedy. I did cut this out. There's a rivet that sits here that just allows this to sit more flush. Then I took just a plastic tube and I rolled this up a little bit here, but I pushed it down here again just so it helps contour. Then I used 8 30-seconds hardware just so it's uniform with the rest of the panels. Then underneath here, you can see, looking at it like this, how angled this is. I ended up taking up to 3/8 of an inch off of this side just to fit them in. It just got rid of this opening that I had here. And I'm not sure if it's correct or not, but it just fit a lot better. So, and then I didn't want to cut this notch off because it kind of covers this area, like a little gap in here. So, I mean, I suppose you can just cut it off, it's not a big deal, but I wanted to do something with that hole that I had here from the original rivet. So I moved that over and then just did a little notch out so it doesn't look like a mess up. But I did end up using the 1/8 inch protruding rivets to hold the nut plates in. And maybe now I realize why they had you do the ones that go in one direction. These the 6 30-seconds that have the tangs here, so you can put that on the inside. Because now, you know, I have a rivet here and a rivet here, so when you tighten this, it kind of buckles it. So you got to be careful to not over tighten it, or I may go through and, I don't know, glue little spacers in there. I guess if I have to look at the instructions, if they all go this way and the rivets are all on the inside, then you probably have less of an issue of that happening. But either way, nothing drastic. Came out really nice, and pretty excited. And I'll end the video here just because, I don't know, they've kind of been getting long, but I've also been going on maximum underdrive to do this. All right, sorry, I'll edit that out. So I'm gonna end the video here. I have left this guy that I talked about. I think I'll look at that next. And then also heard from George. He's very close to being done with the wiring for the instrument panel. So that means that's gonna come back and we can actually get that installed and get the cables in, these cables here, and maybe start the engine soon. So anyway, for now, thanks for watching, and remember, not instructional, because it's just me doing it and making things complicated, but enjoy. Happy building. All right, disregard what I said about these single ear, or whatever you call them, nut plates. The instructions have you rivet them in line with that, so that would not prevent the rivets from lifting, you know, warping the top piece. So yeah, I guess the only way to do it is maybe put a little spacer underneath there, or maybe a piece of foam, tape, or flush rivets if you can get at all of them. All right, see ya.